Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy.
Hi everyone, welcome to Roots and Shoots time for today. I am very glad that you could join me in this way. I know that things are in the stages of reopening in Ontario, and COVID cases are still pretty high, and that's probably a little bit alarming for some people. There's lots of different reasons. So I wanted to continue to make a video to put out for people who are maybe you're isolating because you've been a close contact. Maybe you're going through COVID yourself, or your family is, and maybe there's lots of other reasons that people could be home right now and could find it easier or just better to engage online. So just wanted to let you know that if you are in one of those difficult situations, that I'm thinking of you, and that I do hope, I know I always say this, but I do hope that you feel seen and loved and cared for this week. So as we head into our material today, learning more about God's story and how it can work and weave into our lives, let's begin with a word of prayer together, okay? Heavenly Father, thank you for tools that help us to do things online when it's just not okay to do things in person for whatever reason. And I pray that if there are people who are sad or lonely or sick, people who are vulnerable, and people who are trying to protect their families and their loved ones right now, that you would be with them and help this material to touch their hearts. Amen. So we've been talking about Jesus's big job from God and how he has begun his big job. And Jesus took this job very seriously. And last week we talked about what that big job was. And basically it was to share God's kingdom with people, to show them how to draw close to God, how much God loves them, how they were carefully and preciously made by God, and that God wants to walk with them in their lives. So to do that, to help people to see that, Jesus did several different things. Mainly it was nice things, really. It was spending time with the poor and people who were downtrodden, who are sad, who are grieving. It meant healing the sick. It meant doing miracles and standing up for people who needed protection and needed someone to stand up for them. So Jesus and his friends, his disciples, started to go around. And this meant that Jesus was doing a lot of teaching and spending time with people. So people liked his message about how to be a good friend and how to take care of people and how to treat your enemies and how to just walk closer to God and to share love with other people. This wasn't, a message that some people heard ever before presented in this way. So they were really drawn to it. They were drawn to Jesus, and they wanted to hear how to take care of each other well. So Jesus was doing a lot of teaching, and people began to come from near and far and to hear Jesus speak. So one day a large crowd was gathering at the side of the Sea of Galilee. There's a hill there. So Jesus decided to walk up the hill. This is area, it's just outside of a town called Capernaum. And Jesus goes up to the top of the hill and he gives a sermon, which becomes actually a very famous sermon, and it's called the Sermon on the Mount. So I guess by mount, they mean the hill that was there. So Jesus started this sermon by explaining who would be blessed, who would be given favor by God. He said that the most blessed people in the world were the poor, the sick, the sad, the humble. People who were not important or special or famous or, who you would think of as the people who would be blessed. It was actually the little people. He said that God shows favor to people who are just, which means that they treat other people fairly, and people who are merciful, which means that's when you show mercy to someone. And that's you could say that's when you show love to someone, whether they deserve it or not, especially kind of if they don't. So he's Jesus said that people who bring peace to others, or who go out of their way to help others and maybe even get hurt in the process, doing the right thing, that those will be the people who are rewarded for their actions in heaven, and that God sees that and loves that they're doing that. So it's a lot of talk about love, but Jesus didn't talk about love only. Jesus acted in love too. And that's another thing that made Jesus a different kind of a leader or a teacher at this time. He showed love all the time. And I think that's probably why people were drawn to him too, because it's one thing to hear about love, but it's another when someone actually treats you with respect and care and love in that way. So after Jesus had been teaching all of these important things in this Sermon on the Mount, he spent the rest of his day actually acting out those things and helping people in whatever way they needed in their everyday lives. As Jesus came down the hill, he was met with a man who had a skin disease that is called leprosy. And a lot of people didn't want to get close to people who had leprosy. This was not really a fun disease to have, so people kind of kept their distance. It was probably pretty lonely. So this man walks up to Jesus. He's got leprosy. And the man just kneels before Jesus and says, "Lord, if you are willing, I know that you can heal me. Make me clean." So yeah, like usually people would back away if someone with leprosy came up to them, but Jesus did not. Jesus didn't care. He touched this man and he said, "I am willing. Be healed." And that was it. The leprosy disappeared and this man was able to go on with his life. So later on, Jesus went over to that town of Capernaum that's near where, on the side of the Sea of Galilee there where they were. And a Roman soldier ran up to him and said, "Lord, my servant is in terrible pain." So this soldier was Roman, and Romans were considered to be the enemies of God's people. They were invaders in the land, and they were imposing taxes and some pretty nasty brutalities on a lot of the people in this area. So Jesus had every reason to ignore this soldier's request to turn around and walk away and not even pay attention to him at all. But again, Jesus doesn't care about all that. And he doesn't hesitate, and he says right away, "Yeah, I'll come and see your servant." And the soldier actually says, like, "You don't even need to come. That's okay. Just say the word, and I know that my servant will be healed no matter where you are." And that's faith, my goodness. So Jesus said, "Because you believed, it has happened." And yeah, soldier goes home and he finds out that his servant was healed. So a little bit later, Jesus arrives at his disciple Peter's house, and Peter lived with his family, and his mother-in-law was there too, and she was pretty sick. She had a high fever. She's not feeling good. She's in bed. And Jesus touches her hand, and right away the fever disappears, and she sits up and she's like, "Hey, Jesus," and makes them some tea or something. So she kind of goes about her day, which was taking care of the family. And she's all better. And, this just kept happening. As the day goes on, the evening goes on, many people who were sick or sad in different ways, needing help in different ways, they came to find Jesus for healing and for relief from their suffering. And he healed them all. He didn't care where they were coming from or what they had done. Didn't even think like, does this person deserve to be sick? Didn't matter. Jesus healed anyone who came to him. So finally, they're ready to leave. And Jesus gets into the boat with his disciples. They're going to go across the sea. And suddenly a fierce storm comes up out of nowhere. And I mean huge, thunder's crashing. Rain is whipping at their faces. The waves are smacking into the boat. And the disciples are terrified. Like, these were fishermen, many of them. So they're used to storms. Like, they spent their life out in the water. But this was a scary storm. And they look around and there's Jesus, like, fast asleep. Now, he has had a long day, right? He's been doing a lot of things, and it probably started pretty early. But still, it's this huge storm and Jesus is sleeping. So they cry out to him and they're like, Lord, save us. We are gonna drown. And Jesus wakes up and he's sad. After all that they had seen that day, after all that they had heard with his teachings and how they had witnessed him do miracles with people and heal people. And, and now here's his friends and they don't trust that he can protect them. And that makes Jesus sad. But, he also knows that, okay, they have doubts in their heart for now, but my story is not over yet. I'm still doing my big job. They have time to learn. Their faith has time to grow. So Jesus says, oh, you of little faith, why are you so afraid? But then he does stand up in the boat and he speaks to the wind and to the waves and to the storm and he tells everything to stop. And immediately everything is calm and quiet once more. So that day, Jesus taught a lot of people about love and he showed them what love looks like. And whenever someone took their sickness or their fear or their pain or their suffering to Jesus and asked for help with it, he did it. And it didn't matter who they were. It didn't matter where they were coming from in their life. Everyone who brought their woes, their sadness, their worries, their suffering, their burdens to Jesus, everyone was met with the same kind of love and reception. And they all got to experience his love. When we love people like Jesus did, everyone who meets us feels that love too. And next time you hear, oh, I need to act like Jesus, or someone says that to you, or you think that yourself, like, what would Jesus do kind of thing, just remember that at the basis of everything that Jesus did, it was love. How can I love others? How can I help others to love each other? And maybe it'll help if you remember these words from the Sermon on the Mount. They're from Matthew 5, and these words are known as the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So as you go about your day, whether it is home alone, home with your family, isolating, or going out in the world and you're watching this video for another reason, just remember that at the basis of all we are doing right now, we are trying to show each other love and have grace for each other. And I know that sometimes that can be really hard because you know what? We live in a broken world surrounded by broken people. And I always tell my kids, like, hurt people hurt people. So it can become a cycle when we hear all of these things in our world that are scary and sad and overwhelming. And it can be hard to remember that at the base of all of this world there is an intention, a promise of love and of the redemption of the broken world and of things getting fixed again. We're not there yet, and that's why things are still hard. But as we work together to try to get past this situation that we're all in, I really hope that we can have grace for each other and that we don't leave people behind in our rush to move ahead, and that we can show each other that love that Jesus showed other people. So I really do hope that you feel loved and seen and cared for this week. If you are someone who is sick and your family doesn't have food, you can email me at amy.b@grassroots.church and we'll work something out that we can make sure that your needs are covered, okay? So I do hope that we can see each other in person again soon. Kind of tired of filming these in my basement, but that's what we're doing. So I'll keep making these, for the next while, and we'll see how the situation evolves. So stay tuned. And you can find out how to connect with church online as a family or just for the grown-ups on our Facebook page. Or you can email me and I will let you know too. So hang in there, folks. We really are all in this together. We will get through it one step at a time. So even if there sometimes seems like there's more steps added, we will get there. So I hope that you have a good week, and we'll see you soon.